Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kinney. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is a children's illustrated novel written and illustrated by Jeff Kinney. It is the first book in the Diary of the Wimpy Kid series. The book is about a boy named Greg Heffley and his attempts to become popular in his first year of middle school. The protagonist, Greg Heffley, a student at Larry Mack Junior Middle School, writes a diary to detail his time stuck in the middle school with a bunch of morons to a future audience reading when he is rich and famous. Greg details the local myth surrounding a moldy piece of cheese that has been left at his school's basketball court for a long time. If someone touches the cheese, they have the curse like cheese touch, which makes them repellent to others. The victim is stuck with it until they pass it on by touching someone else. The last victim of the cheese touch has moved away to California, and Greg hopes nobody starts it up again. Craig also talks about his best friend Rowley Jefferson, characterizing him as immature or somewhat stupid, and that Greg's ideas go in one ear and out the other with Rowley. At home, Greg is bullied by his older brother Roderick and resents his little brother, a toddler named Manny, who is spoiled and gets away with everything that Greg does not. Greg's father does not encourage his son's way of life, playing video games all day, and would rather Greg go outside and play sports. Near Halloween, Greg writes that his father likes to hide in the bushes on Halloween night and drench teenagers that walk by their driveway with a trash can full of water. Greg and Rowley decide to make a haunted house after seeing the popularity of Crossland High School's haunted house, but they only end up profiting $2. On Halloween night, Greg and Rowley go trick or treating but are challenged by a group of teenagers who spray them with a water filled fire extinguisher. When they get home, they are soaked with a trash can full of water by Greg's father, who mistakes them for teenagers. In geography, Greg fails a test on state capitals after a girl named Patty Farrell reminds the teacher that he needs to cover the map of the United States that shows the state capitals. At home, Greg's mother forces him into auditioning for the school play based on The Wizard of Oz. Greg lands the role of a tree while Patty Farrell is cast as Dorothy, the protagonist of the novel. During the show's performance, Greg becomes too nervous to sing, confusing the other trees. Patty gets frustrated and Greg starts showing apples at her. The other trees join in and the play eventually has to be shut down after Patty's glasses are broken. Greg's mother is disappointed, but Greg enjoyed getting back at Patty. After getting bad presents for Christmas, Greg decides to play a game with Rowley in which Rowley must ride a big wheel down a hill while Greg tries to knock him off with a football. On one of Greg's tries, the ball goes under the front wheel, which causes Rowley to fall off and break his hand. When Rowley goes to school with a plaster cast, the girls take care of him, which makes Greg jealous. Greg decides to join the safety patrols at his school, hoping that he will be able to control the other kids. He gets Rowley to sign up as well and enjoys the benefit of being a safety patrol, such as getting free hot chocolate. He tries to get a spot in the school's newspaper as a cartoonist and teams up with Rowley. Greg comes up with a strip called Zooey Mama, and he and Rowley produce a number of strips. Eventually, Greg starts wanting to do other strips, but Rowley wants to continue with Zooey Mama. Greg submits his comics to the teacher and ends up getting the cartoonist job. However, the teacher completely changes Greg's comic, even making his character a curious student instead of a cretin. After an incident where Craig chases some kindergartners with a worm on a stick and is mistaken for Rowley, Rowley gets suspended from the safety patrols for a week. However, afterwards, it is cleared up that Greg was a real culprit. Rowley is reinstated and promoted while Greg is dismissed. Greg notices that the school year is coming to a close and tries to get on the yearbook's class favorite page. He plans to go for class clown, but his plans do not work out. At lunch, he gets an issue of the school newspaper and learns that Rowley is the new cartoonist with the Zooey Mama strip left completely unchanged. Greg confronts Rowley for not even listing him as co creator and hogging all the fame. Rowley retaliates by saying that the Zooey Mama comic was his idea and that Greg had nothing to do with it. As they argue, the teenagers who chase them at Halloween appear and force Greg and Rowley to eat the cheese. Greg gets out of it by falsely claiming to be allergic to dairy, while Rowley is forced to eat the whole thing. The next day, when everyone notices that the cheese is gone, Greg takes the fall for Rowley and lies by saying that he threw it away. Greg reconciles with Rowley and lets people think that he has the cheese touch. The book concludes with Greg getting his yearbook, seeing Rowley on the class clown page, and throwing it in the garbage. This means Greg now has a cheese touch, which carries on into the next book. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.